I got way too much sauce with this. I put work and I'm a boss with this. I got game, I'm running off with this. Odell Beckham, boss with this. I got broad booty, soft as shit. Loud packs make me cough with this. Real G's don't talk for shit.
They say the third time's a charm.
I got way too much sauce with this. I put work and I'm a boss with this. I got game, I'm
Dedicated,
Odell Beckham,
sophisticated, connected. Young Walt, what up? H-Time, Sauce Walker. Whoa, parlay.
You already started off, bro.
All right. Hello, world. Welcome to another episode of Sippin Trippin. I am your co-host, Miguel. Facebook trying to hook me up on a dating site. Turley. What you laughing for?
Hey, man, I'm the other co-host, man. Yo, excuse me, this boy a fool, but D White, aka Flight, the other co-host of Sippin Trippin, man. Y'all know what goes down on this.
Yeah. Okay, today, you know the rules of the podcast. We tripping a lot, but we also sip. So today we got some Crown Apple shots.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too. Is this unleaded?
Look, yeah. Look,
This will put your hair.
I got ethanol on it though.
Okay,
got ethanol in it, you know what I'm saying?
All right.
Ah, yes.
Spicy.
Woo! Ah, damn.
All right.
Woo! All right now.
What you sipping on today, Devin?
Got a little cherry vanilla coke with a couple more of these bad boys in this thing. You know what I'm talking about?
And as y'all know, I just sip around on some margarita. I like a little tequila. I heard.
You don't want to show people the bottle.
I don't want to show people the bottle. It's the cheap one. Don't call me out like that. You showing out for company.
I didn't know it was the cheap one, bro.
You showing out. You good.
I know it's the cheap one.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about something that's actually real important to me, and that's mental health, but not just mental health in the black community, but then not just mental health in the black community, but mental health in the black community as a whole, but also for black men, because I'm a black man.
Yeah, this is true. I'm glad.
Yes, I'm a black man. I'm a black man.
I'm glad that you know what you are.
Yeah, so I'm going to start it off because I suffer from about 17 years depression. And now saying that is crazy to see where I'm at right now. Even when I met them and met the friends back in 2008, I was horribly depressed. But I didn't really show a lot of people. And it's crazy because the first time that I actually think back and realized that I was depressed was back in when my niece died. That's when like the world was just dark. No matter how light it was outside, the world was just dark. And I was just sad and going through some stuff all the time. But looking back on it as an adult, it really happened when I moved to Texas, and I didn't really have a lot of friends. And we had this huge house, and I basically had an apartment. I was up there by myself. My mom had her own business. Stepdad was gone. Sister had my niece, and she had her own job and everything like that. So I really didn't have nobody to talk to or hang out with. So that's where it started off for me, just where my depression came about, where I look back onto it. Like, you have any issues with mental illness or depression or anything like that?
Man, it's tough to just sit here and say that I did. I guess just because for the fact that I didn't really recognize it back then. But, you know, I think if I had to say I was depressed, like my mind started changing. I started thinking, like I already think too much.
Yeah.
So I think it started in my senior year of basketball when we had a transfer come in, which a good friend of mine, the homie Elston Turner. Mm-hmm. I was senior year. I thought it was going to be a big deal for me. We had 3 seniors that left. They all went on to play college ball. All of them was like super cold. And my coach told me, he gave me the keys to the team. I went to summer camp at UT. Did my thing out there as a leader and as a player. And then we got Elston coming in, this huge talent, potential McDonald's All-American, committed to University of Washington. Mm. And then all of a sudden, like, those keys was taken from me. Mm. And it's like, damn. Like, that was the first time I realized, like, damn. Like, am I not good enough? Even though we got this top 100 talent coming in, am I not good enough for the coach to just take the keys from me? And that's when it started to sink in, like senior year, like my mama can't pay for college, like my grandparents can't pay for it, my aunt, like it'll have to be a collective effort, but I don't want to be the reason as to why all of them are in debt.
Yeah.
So, I started doubting myself, and then obviously I ended up going to play college, but then relationships happened.
I know about them relationships.
Yeah.
I've been there before, thinking about it.
Yeah, bro. So the relationship happened. I was even in a, now I look back at it, I was in a toxic relationship in high school. So on top of basketball and trying to be the best, I was just in a toxic relationship then that I didn't think it was, but it really was. Mm-hmm. And then going to college, being, once again, didn't think it was a toxic relationship, in that relationship again. And once we finally parted ways for good, I think that's when I was like super depressed and I didn't care. Like you said, the world just turned dark. Like I didn't care. I was hurting people left and right. Like I said, I lost a couple friends, lost one good friend that I wish, all of that never happened. But yeah, man,
that's crazy.
That stuff is tough. But my thing is like for you to go through that, and because I saw something on Twitter today, and it was basically a tweet of every 4 people posting about their loved one, whether it was a kid or their boyfriend or their husband or their girlfriend, whatever the case may be. They posted and said, depression or suicidal thoughts or anything, you would never know, because these pictures, it's all of them happy. Like there was one picture with a girl with her boyfriend and her little brother on a boat. Another one, her son was smiling with their dog, and they were saying literally 2 days later they hung themselves, shot themselves. So
that's crazy that you actually even brought that up. Is because a lot of people, especially y'all didn't even really realize it.
No,
because
at all.
When I came around y'all were my getaway. In my room, I had darkness. Even the freshman year of college, I was sitting in that room just laying there. That was just me being depressed. And a lot of my friends didn't know it because when I came around them, I was smiling. And even when I sold cars at CarMax, I had to go there and put on a smile and act like I was happy to be there when I was just crying in the car right before I got there, because it just felt like the world was crashing down on me. And so I definitely understand what you're saying when you say that, because I put on a lot of smiles and I've hidden a lot of stuff because, one, my pride was I had too much pride to actually let somebody know that I was depressed.
Right. And
I think being prideful is one of the killers in the black community, if I'm going to say it, because we're just taught to be strong. Think about where we came from years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, where we were brought here, and then we just got to be strong. And I definitely had to do that, put on a smile, and just had to be happy when I was really sad. But even that, we brought up basketball. I don't have a lot of experience like you, but even in high school, my junior year, I thought I was going to be on varsity. And so we go to the tryouts. There's a lot of people there, and I did everything I was supposed to do, and I was cut. I was cut from the varsity team as a junior, and I went to the JV coach, and he was like, "Well, why haven't you been at practice?" And rest his soul, that's my JV coach, one of my favorite coaches of all time, Coach Church, and he passed away about last year, right before my 10-year anniversary, 10-year reunion. But he was like, "Why?" He was like, "Why aren't you been to practice?" I was like, "I'm done playing basketball." I was like, "I'm not going to be a junior on JV." And he talked to me for a while, but at the end, he was just like, "Give me a chance." And that was important because in Texas, they had the no pass, no play law.
Yeah.
And I was so depressed that I was just done. And another mental illness that I suffer with is ADD. Yeah. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but I didn't want to do any work. Basketball was literally the only reason why I actually worked.
Yeah.
And he came to me, he was like, "Just try it out. Just try out JV." And what it ended up happening was we came out 6-0. We won a tournament. And after that 6-0 start, they moved me up to varsity, but not even just varsity, starting. And that was all because a a white guy, John Coach. I mean, he sat there and he kept me going.
Right.
I mean, because I was done. I mean, I wasn't about to be no. I was supposed to be cool. I supposed to be popular. I ain't about to be no popular person on JV. That disrespect. Take that disrespectful.
That's bad.
That's disrespectful.
Like, it's cool being on JV when you a freshman, maybe even a sophomore, but when you a junior, nah, man.
No, I was done with basketball at that point. He brought me back and he was like, just try it out and see. I guess he saw something that I definitely didn't, because I was just blinded. I was just like, man, the world is crashing down on me. I thought basketball was it, and he was like, come back and play. Just play JV. Just try out JV. He was like, it's not that bad. Just try it. I tried it out. I became a quick leader, and then he moved me up at the 6th game. So I definitely understand some of the points you're talking about when you come up about basketball and losing a spot that you think is yours. And
that was tough, man. And thinking about it now, which I guess is how I looked at it back then, but my freshman year coming in, I said the senior year was the main thing that was in the forefront of my mind. But now after, you talking about like your junior year and being on JV, and then I start thinking about like the whole high school career, like as a whole, like I really legit have a problem with thinking too much.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's anxiety, or I don't know if there's a proper medical term for thinking too much.
I've been described it multiple times as being over analytical. Like I analyze one of my jobs that I was at, they put me through a test because they couldn't understand it. And basically after the test was done, she sat there and she was like, oh, that makes sense. And I was like, what is it? I can't remember the term for it, but she said you were the type of person that everything has to make sense to you for it to make sense. But if it doesn't make 100% sense to you, it's not gonna make sense to you at all. And that's the type of person I need proof. I need evidence. I need all that type. I'm not about to just believe you. Tell me the sky is red. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna go on Google and stuff like that. And that's the type of person I am. So it could be the same with you. But being over analytical, it's actually a blessing and a curse, because it's definitely a curse. Cause I don't know, man. But I remember back my freshman year, I had people asking me like, so
"Hey,
like college or
high school?"
Oh, okay.
I remember coming in, people were like, "Yo, so you nice at basketball?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I'm not going to, at the time, like, you know what to say. Like, this is before we all just started BSing, and all of a sudden BSing became cool. But
we started the BS.
Yeah, we really did. We really did. Like 215 really started the BSing thing, making that cool. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But then after that, like, people started calling me cocky because I said I was good at basketball. And then I started thinking, like, yo, is there something wrong with me? Like, why am I this type of person? Like, is this gonna affect the fact of me playing high school basketball? Like, I got a main goal. Like, I just want to make the team. Is this gonna like hurt my chances? And like, I was going home, like, when people was calling me that, I literally was going home sad because people was calling me cocky, and I felt like that's not the individual that my mom raised me to be, that my grandparents and my aunt, none of them raised me to be. All my uncles, they didn't raise me to be cocky. They always raised me to be confident, but I never wanted to be that cocky person. And I think that may have been first indication, but I kind of let it go. Like,
you had to either be, when it came to sports in Texas, cocky or confident.
Had to be.
And it's a thin line between both of them.
Yeah, it's a thin line. Like, you say one syllable too much, you cocky.
Yep.
And it's crazy because, anywhere else you could say, you could say 1,000 words and you're going to be considered as just a confident person. Yeah. But in Texas, you say that wrong thing, man. Different. It's different. But
yeah, it's interesting. Like I said earlier, not even just with depression, but I also deal with ADD, being ADD as well. And I remember back in high school in like my junior year, I went to my mom, and this is, I love my mom. I don't blame her for anything. Like, she was brought up, I ain't gonna tell you the year she was born because she gonna put them hands on people. Yeah. But she was brought up in a time where it was a lot different for black people to be in America.
Right.
And so when I went to her back in my junior year, about 2006 or 7, I went to her, I was like, Mom, because somebody told me about it. I did some research. And I'm like, Mom, I think I'm ADD. And she was like, no, you're not. She was like, you do not want to be labeled as anything in this country. And I sat there and you black. So when your mom sit there and say no, That's it. I mean, that's the end of the conversation. No more talking about it. It's done, McDonough.
You don't argue. You don't say nothing back.
And so I really just sat there and like okay, I'm not, and just left it alone. But thinking about it, when I got to college, when I was actually old enough to go and do my own research and go talk to people myself, I did the test and everything, and it turned out I was ADD. But thinking about it back then, my mom grew up in a time where being black was a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And then being labeled was even worse back then. If you were labeled as depressed or having ADD or ADHD, they weren't hiring you. They weren't putting you in certain positions. So I kind of understand, like, she was telling me that basically you're not this. You got to be stronger than what you think you are. And I mean, I wish that I had the medication that I had in my freshman year of college, but I mean, I definitely understand where she was coming from. But that goes back to like being mentally ill in like the black community, is because we've been taught that you have to be strong no matter what. Mm-hmm. And so when it came time to me realizing when my niece died that I was depressed, I was just sitting there, like a few years later, I'm just sitting there like, man, I can't even tell my mom or I can't tell anybody. I just got to sit there and deal. And that's the most horrible thing that I had to do, was just deal with my depression by myself, because I had nobody. Yeah. Like, I had people, don't get me wrong, I had people that loved me, but I didn't think I had people that understood me, like understood where I was coming from. And so when I was just sitting there being depressed and crying and stuff like that, it was just me.
So when you say that you ain't have nobody, but you knew, obviously, like you said, you knew you had people, but you felt like nobody understood you. Is it because of that you didn't want to reach out to anybody, just one person in general that you was close to? Is that the reason why you felt like?
I felt like that was the start of it, because my mom, like, she taught me to be a strong black man.
Right.
And being mentally ill, you don't look strong. And so I didn't want to come off as weak to everybody else.
And I guess that's the stigma that comes with mental illness, just in general.
It's the pride. Yeah. I mean, like I said, pride is one that was the worst thing that I ever had to deal with. That worst thing I had to ever give up was my pride, and actually start talking about my mental illness, because if I didn't do that, I would probably still be depressed, to be honest. But yeah, it was just hard. When I say I don't have any, I had people. It's just I didn't know how to verbalize what I was going through to somebody else.
Gotcha.
And so when and I know you say your dark place and my dark place I feel like it was different, because I got to the point where I started telling myself nobody else loved me, or nobody else cared, and that was it.
No, I got to that point when it came to, as far as nobody loved me, and when it came to that last relationship I was in college. So
that Jezebel.
Yeah. That Jezebel.
I'm gonna say that every time
man, because that was crucial. But doing all of that stuff, and off and on for 3 years, and then the last 2 years being the most crucial. Mm-hmm. After that was done, and especially what she told me, it wasn't it was because somebody else, who wasn't even her blood, that said we shouldn't be together. She agreed. And so really it's just damn, somebody who really told me they loved me never really did for 3 years. And so I was like, man, everybody must be this way, because once again, I overthink everything.
Yeah.
And so I understand when you say nobody loves me. Mm-hmm. And that's why I always said, man, I ain't no relationship for me. I'm like, hell no, fuck that. There ain't nothing there.
Yeah.
Because nobody really cares. And so since I said that nobody really cares, I gave off that action to people that probably actually do love me.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, still to this day, I feel a little remorse about it. And for that, I apologize. But still, I know what that means, because nobody can really understand unless they've been to that point, which is a scary point. Because, say it gets even more serious, you don't know what's beyond that point. Because this is serious. You're already dark. And to be blatantly honest, the only thing that I could see past that is, taking your own life. And so, which brings me to my next question. With you being depressed for that long, has it ever gotten that far?
And that really does make me emotional. But like there was 2 times I can sit there, I can talk about it now because I mean I'm better, but it still brings emotion to me to know that there's a chance that I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, and what you overcome.
And there was 2 times that I literally almost took my life. One was back in like 2007 or 8, and it had to do with my mom, and it's a whole different situation. Both situations had to do with my mom. Like it wasn't because of her, but she was the reason why I didn't have it.
Right.
And the second time was about 2015. Nobody really knows this. Is that I mean I had relationship issues with school. My mom literally, like when I graduated in 2015, she told me like a few days later, I almost died.
I remember you saying something.
And I was just like, why? I was like, why didn't you? She was like, if I told you that I was about to die or I was going through all these issues, you weren't going to finish school.
Right.
And so I just had to deal with it. But a lot of things were going on mentally. And I was just, I left the house that I was living in. I was just sitting in the parking lot. And my mom is a doctor of natural medicine. So every time I got injured, I was sick, she just gave me prescribed me something natural. Yeah. And when I came to OC, I got hurt my wrist, I hurt my ankle, and I had all these major medications in my car, or just on my person. And then I was just sitting in my car, and that's where it goes to the dark place. And I think that people sit there and say they were mentally broken. I think you get mentally broken when, not because you say you want to kill yourself, but when you attempt to do so, when there's nothing else. And that's when I was mentally just done. And I sat there and like, I know it was mixed with ibuprofen, muscle relaxers, painkillers. Because when I got in the car accident, remember the car accident, when I was in the back seat, I wasn't driving. I wasn't driving. I'm a good driver. But I had painkillers, all this stuff in there. And when I get done with medication, I don't keep going on them because I hate being high. I hate the high feeling. Mm-hmm. But I had them in my car, and I was just like, this is it. Yeah. And so I took a bunch of ibuprofen. I took the painkillers, the muscle relax. I took everything, like swallowing everything. And it's crazy because my mom didn't know until after that I was depressed. But I say she saved my life even before then, because when I would call her, I would just tell her, Mom, I'm not doing too well. And she, being a strong black woman she was, even though she wasn't doing well at the time, she would just tell me stuff like, we are survivors. Yeah. And then she would tell me another thing. This is old people slang. Yeah. She would say, one monkey don't stop no show. And that was things that she said to me. And then after I took those pills, and it was the scariest time of my life looking back on it, because I took those pills, and for the first time in my life, I was at peace. Like I was sitting back in my chair in my car, and I was just calm. My mind, I wasn't thinking about nothing. It was just it. And then after a few minutes, I'm just sitting there. I just hear it. It's just in my head. It started off light, and then it came back, and it's just saying, you are a survivor. You are a survivor. You are a survivor. One monkey don't stop no show. Like, it was just replaying in my head to the point that it annoyed me. And even though I was at peace, it just brought me to a place. I was like, I can't do this. And after a few minutes, I just made myself throw up all the pills. I was a little sick, but I made myself throw up all the pills. I was ready to die. Like, thinking back,
that's crazy.
That is crazy. I was just at that point because I told myself nobody loved me, nobody cared about me, nobody would care if I was gone.
That's crazy. It's even more crazy because obviously we all know how close we are. So to hear it, like right now, it's for me, it's like, damn, I really wish I would have known. But it's one of the things, like, how could you? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, like I
was smiling around y'all.
You was the main one clowning everybody, and so you was the main one laughing. So I mean, it's like when you hear stuff like that on the outside looking in, it's like, man, that dude funny as hell. Like, man, I got a bad day, I gotta go and find him. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, once again, outside looking in, I feel like when you hear people say that, or when people feel that way about you, it feel like that that make you feel good. Mm-hmm. But damn, like just hearing that shit, I'm like in awe.
It's crazy to look back on that, being in the position I was in, and now like being self-employed and just being better mentally, and I don't let anything negative get to me. Yeah. And so anytime something negative happens, I sit there and I allow my time to get through it, but then I'll tell myself, oh, at least you're still alive. At least you're here. At least you got your car, your house. You got all this stuff. that you can be blessed and happy for. And so, I mean, I'm blessed. Like she doesn't know my mom is my hero more than once because once she gave me birth, and then she helped me through times when even she didn't know I was going through it. But I mean, even when you were talking about relationships, I mean, people don't understand like why they've asked me like, what would you talk to your ex again? I'm like, if she reached out to me, I would. I mean, she hasn't reached out to me, but if she reached out to me, I would, because the simple fact is that she sat there one day and she was just looking at me. She was like, Miguel, I think you're depressed. And I was like, what you talking about? Because I had a good way of hiding it, but we became closer. She's like, I think you're depressed. You're going through something. And I finally told her, yeah, I am. Because for 3 years before then, she never knew.
Right.
Nobody knew because I smiled. Like, that was my getaway from reality. And what she did was, at the time, I actually hated it. She's the one that actually told my mom. And that changed the whole dynamic of my depression, because it wasn't coming from me. Because when I sat there and I went to my mom about being ADD and stuff like that, she was like, you just got to be strong. But hearing it from somebody else that cared about me, she was like, man, he actually is going through it. And she probably thought I wouldn't talk to her. Even my aunt was like, man, you know you can talk to me about this type of stuff. And I was just like, y'all are strong people. I can never imagine going through some things y'all went through. And so, I mean, that's why I would sit there, and even though we haven't talked, I would sit there and I would talk to her. I wouldn't reach out to her. But if she reached out to me, I would talk to her no matter what negative stuff we went through. Is because of that right there. It's because she's the one that actually reached out to my mom, and it changed the whole situation of my depression with my mom knowing. So, it's different.
That's I'm like, that's
it's crazy. You don't know. I think about that every time that I sit there and I get upset. I think about how I almost took my life, and it's like the fact that I almost took it and I didn't, and I'm still here, is what keeps me positive as I am, because it could be a lot different. And I also think about somebody's out there right now that would kill to have my life.
True. It's true.
That would kill to have my life.
It's true, because I tell myself that a lot. I mean, it's times I won't go as far as say depressed, because when you being sad and being depressed is two totally different things.
Completely.
But after I got put on the night shift at work, and that changed the whole dynamic of my life as far as seeing my lady, seeing Caitlin, seeing my boo thing, seeing Kate every day, being able to hoop, which is a getaway, being able to work out, which is a getaway, just being able to do all of these things.
Don't mind me, I'm about to get some of this cheap alcohol.
Man, go ahead and show the people hold on, man. Go ahead and show the people what we got, man.
Man, come on now.
Why you pouring
It's a little cheap. It's already mixed in. 13%, man. Don't do me like this.
Man, come on now.
I thought there was going to be 30 minutes. We about to go a little longer.
No, we definitely go along. This is an important topic, but now you know what I'm saying. I gotta go ahead and put me a little bit more crown apple in this nice little shot.
You got that
2 shots
hard.
of vodka.
That's done. Put some hair on your balls. On the balls.
Oh, but yeah, man. So, like I said, I won't go as far as say depressed, but when I went to the night shift and it changed the whole dynamic of my life, I was really like hella sad. And I was sad for like, I probably just got out of being sad, I would probably say like 2 months ago. Just because it's like, I don't get to see my girl. When I get off of work, I'm amped up still, cause like I'm already in that motion where I'm constantly moving. Yeah. So then I'm not going to sleep until like 4. She's getting ready to leave in 30 minutes to go to work. So now I want to be up to be able to walk her out, but I can't even do that, which I stopped doing that a while back. But I always make sure I walked her out, just because, the world is stupid. You never know who is out there.
True.
But now it sucks when I'm going to bed. She getting ready to go to work. When I get ready to go to work, she just coming home. When it's the weekend, I'm hella tired. It's a Friday, so finally the work week over. Let me go ahead, pop open the freezer, let me pour a drink, because these people been stressing me out all day, all week, all month. So I'm gonna pull up and I'm playing the game, just my little getaway. And once again, you're not going to sleep till 4 because that's your sleep schedule. But then you got to hop up. Right, well, for me, I got to hop up at 8:30, 9 o'clock just because I want to be able to have a weekend with my lady. And when I feel like I can't even get rest, but I'm trying to spend time with my lady. You know, my dog is like my son. And I want to be able to see him because he barely see me because when I get up in the morning, I'm ripping and running trying to get stuff done before I go to work. Like, it took a toll on me. But 2 months ago is when I realized, I was like, you doing all of this complaining. I really don't feel like it was just me realizing this. I feel like it was God talking to me.
It has to be.
It has to be. You doing all of this complaining, but what you fail to realize is that you got a good paying job. You still got an apartment over your head. You able to get everything that you want. You're able to take care of everything that you need. Mm-hmm. And you complaining because you working 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. because you don't get to hoop as much as you want
just to not even cut you off, but you said that you talked about God, but I don't know if it was Abraham or whoever, but I remember it was a story that sat there and said that God told, I'm going to say Abraham, I may be wrong, don't quote me on it, but he told Abraham to go tend to his sheep until he was ready to call. It took years for him to call him back. He was tending to sheep until he called him back for his actual job or his actual goal. So it may take time, and it's going to pay off for you. Eventually, it may not be right now. You may not see the end of the tunnel, but it's there. People never understood why I left $70,000 a year to be self-employed. It's because that I was drinking every day. Bro. Being depressed and drinking every day is not a good thing.
Bro, drinking every day in general ain't a good thing. But when, like you said, when you mix it with depression,
it wasn't a good thing. I left all that money to be self. Now I'm on year 4.
Being self-employed, right?
Yeah. Year 4, and it's starting to pick up even more. And I'm just blessed because I had to tend to my sheep. For all those years being, what is it, a shepherd?
Yeah. Come on,
man.
I
had to be a shepherd for all those years.
Come on, man.
To wait for him to call me home, call me to my actual job.
Come on, Brother Turley.
So, yeah.
Come on, Brother Turley. Don't get you go. All right, man. Come on,
that's exactly what I got
from him.
I had to tend to him until he was actually ready to call me to do my actual job. And so that's the only advice I have for you. I know that working nights is tough, but eventually it's gonna pan out, and you're gonna figure out exactly what he had in store for you. Yeah. Not what you wanted, but what he had waiting for you at the end. So he's trying to. And how I look at my depression now is that 17 years, he needed me to be stronger for now. And like some people look at it like, why would he let you go through that? I'm happy he let me go through it because I would never be where I'm at right now if I didn't have to go through all those years of being depressed.
That's what everybody be saying. God gives his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers. You a testament to that for real.
Man.
17 years.
17 just being, and it's crazy because my getaway, like I said, was being around y'all, but then I found out people like, you work out all the time.
Yeah.
It's because I'm self-employed. I work 7 days a week. I don't get a day off.
No, you self-employed. You can't.
Yeah, I do everything. And so working out is the only time where I'm not thinking about work. Like no matter if it's basketball or lifting the weights, I'm focused on those weights or I'm focused on giving out buckets. And so, I'm focused on the weights are giving out buckets. And so that was my getaway, is just a way to release from reality. And so I definitely recommend people not only to just talk about what they're going through, but to actually find what helps them to forget about what's going on. At least, even if it's like 10 minutes, just forget about what you got going on in your life.
Yeah, man. Let me go ahead because for those that that are listening to this, I went ahead and put IG Live on, man. I got a homie, Cello.
I feel like, was he roasting me?
He wasn't roasting. Well, he was low key roasting.
Hey, back in my younger days,
he said something about. He said something about your ways, bro. I gotta go and find it, bro.
Yeah,
he said something about a Bartlett pear. First off, I didn't even know pears had names. Well, I just called it a pear. But he said shaped head, but his wave spinning. Like he's been the only one. He been the only one asking questions.
I got a weird head. I mean, I understand that.
So I mean, like, yeah, he said how he got his waves to go sideways like Lance Stevenson.
Boy ass Lance.
He said, boy ass Lance. He said, if you ever think about taking your life again, just think about how much dip your waves got and realize you need to show us young waveless.
Young waveless what?
Young men, the way. Black men, that is.
Back before I had waves, I had a mini fro. This was before mini fros was cool. Nowadays, you can wear a mini fro and the girls love you.
Yeah.
Back then, I had a mini fro and they treated me like I was Kareem in 2008. So, think about it. He had nobody liked. It was like Webby.
Oh my gosh.
It was like Webby, and that was it. Who had the mini fro?
Oh my gosh.
And I cut it, and that's when it got a little bit popular. And then I had little waves, and that's when the freaks.
Bro. That's when the freaks started coming out.
Oh, the freaks came out.
They came out.
I played basketball. Texas is sports.
I wouldn't know.
Okay, I could tell you, sports was important in Texas. I won't get nobody in trouble.
No, you ain't gonna get nobody in trouble. She probably feel the same way.
Talking about teachers. All right. Anywho.
So I want to go back to something you said earlier. Something about pride in the black community, kind of helping, for lack of better terms, with the mental illness in our community. Why do you feel like pride? And I don't even feel like it's just in the black community for me. I feel like it's for everybody that's dealing with mental illness.
Everybody has a definite has pride. A lot of people do have pride, especially when it comes to mental illness. I think because I say it in the black community, I think it's more severe because I'm black. I'm a black people, and so I think it's more severe because we were taught you have to be strong. Like I don't feel like white people have to be strong at all points. We have to be stronger on our game at all times. And so when I go out, I have to be like, even if I was depressed, I went to Walmart, I had to act like I had to smile to the white people. I had to make sure they felt comfortable with me so they didn't call the police or they didn't do something like that. I had to put a smile on my face instead of sitting there speaking on what I'm going through or actually showing my emotion. Let me tell you a story with a girl in the past is that she always complained. She was like, Miguel, you don't show any emotion. Right now, when I talk to a girl, I don't show any emotion right now. But back then, when I was actually in a relationship, I showed no emotion. And she always got on me to show some emotion, do this, do that. And then when I finally opened up to her and showed her what, like the real me, what I was going through, the next time we got into a disagreement, she used that against me. And so I'm sitting there feeling dumb about showing that. So it's just pride because I know when I showed emotion in the past, it made me feel dumb. I don't like to feel. I don't think anybody likes to feel dumb.
Nah, hell no.
And so I feel like it's just. I think like when you're right when it comes to mental illness and people realize that they're actually going through it. That's the first step is realizing what you're going through. The next step is actually talking about it. I think like that's when the pride comes in because you don't want people to know what you're going through. And so you're being prideful and just trying to keep it in and just trying to. And I say it a lot on Facebook, but what I did, I suffered in silence. Yeah. And I feel like that is the most dangerous thing you could do is suffer without people knowing. So I often reach out on Facebook and say, if you're going through something, you can inbox me because I've been there. And it's crazy. People actually, I didn't think you would reach out. And people did reach out.
But that's probably what the people that reached out needed. Like, that's probably what they needed because they probably felt like you felt. You know what I'm saying? They probably felt like you felt. They didn't have anybody that could reach out that understood what was going on.
Yeah.
It could be a total stranger, but you got love for that person because you don't want to see that person take their life over something that can be overcame. You know what I'm saying? You overcame that situation, and you came out better for it.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they reached out. I mean, obviously, when you do something, you never surprise. I try to say the same thing. Not so much on Facebook, but Twitter. I see it a lot on Twitter, and I don't on my old one because I had to get a new one. But on my old one,
you was in the news and stuff.
No. I see what happened was I was working for the Thunder and I was talking about the Rockets a lot on that one, so I had to do away with that and make a new one, which kind of hurt me now because I had a lot of connections on that. But that's neither here nor there. But
Okay.
I used to say, and still to this day, and if anybody listening that's feeling like they're going through something like this, please feel free to reach out to myself or Miguel. But I try to say the same thing. Like, I can't sit here and tell you how to exactly overcome depression. But I can sit here and tell you that, you stronger.
I can tell you how I got over it.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to go and say this.
You can go wherever you want to.
I'm trying. I know you can. I'll put it like this. For those listening that's going through that, if you want a blunt, to the point, somebody who is really going through it for a long time, and you want to know how to get over it, go to Miguel. Because I do remember a person asking how. I'm not gonna say any names.
I won't say no names either.
I'm not gonna say no names, but I do remember.
She probably watched. She asked me how I got over it, and then when I was trying to be as gentle as possible, because when you go through a certain type of depression, like, you feel like if somebody comes at you, you're getting attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understood that, and I tried to be as gentle as possible, and she took it as me trying to attack her, which it's basically not. But if I had any advice, I mean, one thing that Jay-Z said in one of his songs was on the Carter's album. I know a lot of people didn't like the Carters.
I got that.
But he said, pride always goes before the fall.
Yep.
And right before I sat there and I declared I wanted to kill myself, my pride went out the door. I was begging. I was like, God, please give me something. I was like, please. I was like, somebody reach out to me. Just give me like a reason. Like, even on 13 Reasons Why, if you ever watched that show.
Yeah, I've watched it.
At the end of the first season, when she got done talking to the assistant principal, she was like, he sat there, he called her back in, but he told her, like, you forgot this. She was like, I just wanted somebody to see me.
Like, help me.
Yeah, I just wanted somebody to see me, but with the pride, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, look at me. Mm-hmm. I wanted you to just see me without me even showing any signs I need to be seen.
Yeah.
And so before I actually got over my depression, I needed to drop the pride completely. Yeah. And I needed to start talking about it, being open to talk about it. It was hard to talk about it, especially to my mom, the person that loves me the most in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I needed to do, is drop that pride and actually tell her, Mom, I needed help. And asking for help is one of the hardest things you can do when you've been so strong for your entire life.
Yeah, bro.
And so if you can sit there and just start talking, like talking to somebody, that's a whole different situation. And one thing a long time ago you told me that I do now is somebody's asked you, they said, why do you sit there and say hello and smile to somebody every time you, like, in public, even if you don't know them? It's because you never know what they're going through.
Yeah.
So when I'm out there, I see people, I just say, hello, how you doing? Like, and I have people start whole conversations with me because they just wanted to vent. You you never know what that person is going through. If you just say, hey, how you doing, or how you going, and just smile, they may tell you what you're going through, and you may be the highlight of their day. And so that's what, I mean, just be getting over the pride of asking for help, and then just going out your way to talk to people is what actually got me over that. Yeah. And so I know it's not going to help everybody that's going through something, but I know it can help a lot of people that are. So that's how I got over it. It's just talking.
No, that's for real. That's real. When you go to say that, I know I be feeling bad sometimes because I be like, just in my nature, that's how I was raised. You never know what somebody's going through. So I always feel like, how's it going? And sometimes people start talking back. I'll be like, damn, why I say that? Because I'm not really in the mood to talk. But at the same time, I try to tell myself, like, once again, you don't know what that person going through. So when they talking back, engage.
Yeah, that's like when I sold cars, and then people would walk by. They could never understand why I was actually selling a decent amount of cars. It's because I could actually sell. Even though I was depressed, I can sell. But like when old people, especially old people, they would come in, they would sit there, and they would want to sell their car or buy a car. They would just start talking and just go on and on and on. They probably haven't had anybody to talk to in months. Their kids may not have spoken to them. The grandkids may not have reached out to them.
Yeah, they probably, all their friends, once they got up there in age, they probably gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. And so it's they were like, why did you could have been done. I was selling cars in 45 minutes sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, why didn't you sell that car as quick as you could? They're like, because they wanted to talk. I'm like, if you want to talk, one, I'm going to listen to you talk. Especially if you're an old person. Two, you may drop a gem on me that I ain't even know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wisdom that can come to me. So I'm always willing to listen to somebody talk, no matter what I'm going through my day. It could have been the worst day. If you sit there, I smile, I say, hi, how are you doing? I give you the homie now, like, what's up? And you was like, how you doing? I'm good, how you doing? I'm just trying to make it. And I sit there and I'm like, oh, man, what you going through? I ask people, like, what you doing? What's going on? Like, we stand in line or something. But it's just, like I said, getting over the pride was just talking about it and then talking to other people who were going through some things that I was going through. Knowing that I am not alone. Knowing that people actually do care was what helped me out, so.
Yeah, man. That's solid, man. But I feel like that's a good note to go ahead and end it on, man. Like I said, for those listening, we said it before. Obviously, mental illness is a serious thing.
Very serious.
Very serious.
And I think it's very serious in the black community because we're taught to be hard. Yeah. We have to go through slavery. We taught to not segregation. We taught if
mental illness, if you sad or you depressed, we taught to hold that in because it make you look weak. And
it's not.
And that's not it. Because you look weak when you're not able to go ahead and speak onto what you're going through, because that just shows how strong you are for something so deep, so dark that you can go ahead and speak how you feel into somebody. That shows how strong you really are. So that misconception of you can't be sad, you can't go through anything, you can't be depressed, you can't overthink, whatever the case is, and people telling you that you can't do that, you can. And you can go ahead and talk to somebody about it. It's not going to hurt anything.
One of the realest things that I ever read was like, crying doesn't make you look weak. It just, sometimes the heart sweats when it gets stronger. Yeah. And that was one of the realest things that I ever read, because I didn't feel weak when I was crying. After a certain point, I felt like I was just fed up.
Yeah.
And so after I realized this helped me get stronger, after I wiped my last tear, I was ready to move on to the next task. Yeah. I realized that my day is not over because, like I said, they would kill to have your life.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that I think about when anything goes wrong in 2019 is that somebody is going through something that's worse than what I'm going through.
Yeah,
I got perfect health. I got a car. I got a house. All this I got, and some people, they go through something else. So
most definitely. So like we said, if you're going through these things, Flight White 23 on IG, _ Dev Flight White _ on Twitter, Devan White on Facebook.
It's sexual chocolate _ on Black Planet.
Black Planet.
Black Planet. I think it's on Instagram, Turley ___, and then Miguel Turley on Facebook. I don't use Twitter. Every time I got on there, was people were sending porn and all this extra stuff.
Instagram get like that. Talk about can you take my pants off? Like, no. I don't want to. Go away.
A girl was bold. She was like, I'm gonna be real bold. She's gonna be real bold right now. If I sent you my Snapchat, would you send me $40? I said no.
No,
I'm not gonna do that.
No, baby. That's a whole nother. You probably smart. There's a whole nother way for you to make money. No. I don't want to do that.
But at the end of the day, this is episode 3 of Sippin and Trippin. I am your co-host Miguel. I am sad, lonely, and Turley, and this is
Devan. I'm not even gonna be a Devan Flight White. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We appreciate y'all subscribing to the show. Y'all keep listening. We're gonna keep dropping these gems as much as possible. Shout out to everybody that supported both of us during these times.
I'm living the Live Full life.
Shout out to our brother and our sister Daniel and Raymond Haynes for the Live Full life.
Live Full is basically no matter what you do, live full. No matter if you're serving somebody else, no matter if you got to go to work, no matter if you just waking up, just live full, live it to your fullest ability, and do everything that you could possibly do. And the intro song, if you was listening to it, Facebook or YouTube, it's Sauce by Jay Horn.
Yeah, and shout out to my little homies back home, Secluded, AB, Lopes. Got their own little clothing brand. They support and they doing well for themselves. So I got to go ahead and support. Shout out to them. But like I said, shout out to everybody that supported us. Shout out to everybody that reached out to me and Turley during our tough times, even if they didn't know. Shout out to everybody that always, looking out. Shout out to the 215 homies.
Yes.
All love, baby. Shout out to my homies back home that I'm close with. Y'all know what it is. Yeah, man.
That's it.
3rd episode, Sippin Trippin down the drain, bro.
It is. We moving.
We moving.
Moving on. All right, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
All right, y'all.